This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in. First time in a long time. We wanted to kind of break up the scheduling because of the draft lotto that happened today as we're recording this, by the way. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching. And if you're a son watching this, wish your mom a happy Mother's Day, even if you're watching this on Monday. It's after the fact. Maybe you forgot. And you're like, oh, I should do that. Go do that right now. Wish your mom a happy Mother's Day again. Do that. Dave, co-host, how you doing? Did you wish your mom a happy Mother's Day?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I went over.
2 for 2 on the podcast.
We had a great day. Lovely day. Yeah, it was a good time. Good times.
See, we're different. I wish my mom a happy Mother's Day, and then it's like, okay, you wished me a happy Mother's Day. Now leave me alone. Leave me alone to be by my own thoughts and sit and crochet and watch Gunsmoke in the kitchen.
No. We got family time. Everybody's over. We're all cooking. We're all eating. We're all snacking.
Whatever she wants on this day. It's her day.
Oh, yeah, her day. Her
Whatever
choice.
she wants. But happy Mother's Day. And then it's like, okay, I will get out of your way. We're here talking draft lottery. This is basically the recap show, our thoughts about it. Before I get into everything, or we get into everything, quick housekeeping, Discord down below in the description. You can also support us with our Patreon page down there. Sponsor the show, BETUS. You'll hear about them later, but you can get a deposit bonus when you sign up today. That link down below. All of our socials are in the description. Leave a comment. Like button helps the show. Hit the subscribe button if you like us. And I think that's it.
Do you like us? You must like us.
You must like us if you're subscribing.
Or you're hate watching. Which I respect.
You know what? People used to hate watch us. I'm sure there's people that still do.
I'd be down for that. I hate watching a lot of NBA content. I got some opinions.
I hate watch a lot of things in general. As Jake has told me, apparently I've got a lot of hate in my heart, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with. I'm just going to say this out there. I may actually watch the WNBA this year for 2 reasons.
Caitlin Clark.
One, Caitlin Clark. Jake is apparently told me that we're Indiana Fever fans this year.
Oh. I mean, geographically, we're not far, but we do have the sky right on top of us.
Yeah, but I've always like my girl. I watched a little bit last year. My girl Kelsey Plum. Vegas.
Oh,
Vegas
you call
Aces.
the player.
I used to bet it was over under was 19.5 points. It was always a lock for Kelsey Plum. She's my girl, so I don't know if I can go like and jump ships because the Aces were kind of like my.
Maybe you keep your betting line separate from your like passion as a fan, so you don't get a little too upset.
But if you respect the coin, there's no way that I can stray from you, trend at you. Like you can't disrespect the coin like that. But yeah, like the one team I will be watching in the WNBA to hate watch is the Chicago Sky.
Oh,
I can't stand Angel Reese. I can't stand her. She is hypocritical. Everyone's going to say one thing, but I will say it is because of how hypocritical she is. I just can't stand. I don't like her personality, what she puts out there. So I will hate watch the Sky and hope that they are bad this year. I'm rooting
for the Sky,
even though I live in Chicago. But Dave, we're talking the draft today.
We are.
Bulls did not win. We're going to be recording only the Bulls today soon. So if you're looking for all of our Bulls takes, it'll be on that. Before we get into everything, I have a thought.
What haven't we covered, Ricky? Because I feel like if people are coming for draft content, we're about 6 minutes in and they might be a little unhappy with us.
So here's my thoughts, and this is what I'm going to start out with.
Sure.
The draft lottery is rigged. If you didn't know that, if you didn't know, here's Ricky, his annual PSA, the draft lottery is rigged. And this year people might be saying, well, Ricky, it's not rigged. And I'm here to tell you why, because this was, for me, the easiest rigging of all time. On the ESPN broadcast, they mentioned how, when the Pelicans moved up, I'm like, they're showing their rigging early. When they gave the Pelicans Zion, because they played around with the league and said, hey, you give AD to the Lakers, we'll give you Zion. So bingo right there.
Young.
But here's the reason, and this is going to be a little tinfoil, but I feel like the tinfoil isn't even needed for this. And here's the reason why. I wrote this verbatim in the Discord. Okay. The only one I don't get is the Wizards, but now after typing this, I get why, I think. Okay. So number one, you look at the Spurs. Two things happened with the Spurs in this lotto.
Fourth overall pick.
Number one, because the Rockets and Hawks moved up, they were able to move down outside of the top 6. Therefore, the Raptor pick went to the Spurs. And then on top of it, the Spurs moved up 1 pick into the top 4. So I wrote here, Spurs, give them another top 4 to go with Wemby. We need him in the playoff. And I'm saying the NBA. Not just that. Let's give you 2 top 10 picks. Because here's the thing with the Spurs. They're a team. They've got their star power. They've got the names, Vassell, Johnson, Wemby. They need role players. They need guys to help this team get. Yeah. The order was a little weird. I get it.
We got different thoughts on that team, but okay.
But like they have their core. They just need guys. They need guys on that team that's going to help them get into at least the play-in, because that's what we need as the NBA. That's what they're saying. We need Wemby in at least the play-in. That is what we need. The Rockets, number 2. I said same as Spurs, just subtract Wemby. They're a team. They've got their core. They've got Dad Van Vliet that came over to be the veteran to come over for that team. The NBA's sitting there going, we need this team at least in the play-in. Let's give them a top 4 pick. Let's give them a top 4 pick.
This is the Nets pick from James Harden.
Yeah, but that's how. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that helped the NBA because then they could let the Thunder keep their pick. They wouldn't have to move up because there's a thing with the Thunder with the Rockets. If the Rockets would have moved up, we're taking a pick away from the Thunder. No, we'll move the net one up.
The Thunder don't have a billion picks anyway,
but the Thunder, they want to keep them in that prime spot that they're in right now because they're a young team and people like them. Number 3 is the Hawks. This is one where it's like, you're going to trade Trae Young. Let's give you a top 4 pick. In this case, the number 1 pick. So you can take any of the point guards because it ain't going to matter. Some people are saying, they should take Sarr because Capella sucks. But like, no matter what, you're going to trade Trae Young. It didn't work. You know what? You helped us out. You let Luka get to Dallas. We'll reward you with the number 1 pick.
You let Luka.
They did. The trade got Luka to Dallas. Okay. Come on. Like there's things here. And then number 4 are the Wizards. And I said, because the league sees more star power in Kuzma and Poole than anyone in Detroit, ? They're the one I didn't get. However, now I understand, Dave, because if the Hawks pass on Sarr, what's the one thing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because this one I didn't look at the roster yet.
Sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The Wizards could use a big. Here you go. Here's Alex Sarr. Or they take Sarr. Here you go. Donovan Clingan's in your lap.
Yeah, they absolutely could go that route. Yep. The Wizards do need a center. No doubt after trading Gafford last year, Vukcevic is not really a center. He's like a 7-footer who just loved to shoot threes. But he only played for like a handful of games at the end of the season when he came over from Europe. So yeah, I wouldn't lock him down. Wouldn't pencil him in as a starting center next year. I love the conspiracies. Mm-hmm. The only thing, just to throw a little bone in there,
go ahead.
I believe Retro had let us know that Trae Young had left Clutch as his agency. Mm-hmm. So, the Lakers connection was kind of put in a little bit of a bind there. We're a little unsure about that situation right now. So if it's not Trae Young going to the Lakers.
Is it really Lakers or bust, though?
No, but I think a lot of people had written in that it was going to be Trae Young to the Lakers.
Dave, there's people saying the Bulls should trade for Trae Young.
Sure. I can't imagine why, but sure. We just like trading trash back and forth. You can have Zach LaVine, we get Trae Young. We both are still right back in the play-in where we belong. Hey, why not?
Jake says Wizards need Jesus, is what he says in the chat.
Wizards are on their way back, man. I got faith in that team. But I think it's a good switch up at the top of the draft class.
Now,
I think it's good.
Here's the thing, and this is live and we're recording it, but we are live. I have texted him. We'll see how long it takes for him to jump in. And here he is, our resident Piston fan here at MVP. Soapy Muffin. Soapy, I wish we were talking on better terms. I wish that this was a happy occasion and the Pistons were the number 1 pick in the draft. But you saw this coming. You have told us in our own Discord when we've hung out that you foresaw the Pistons falling to 5. So I just going to ask straight up, what are your immediate thoughts, Pistons at 5?
I mean, NBA, you got to make the rigging, a little less obvious. That's all I'm saying. There's only been 2 teams that have ever fallen from 1 to 5. The Pistons are both of them. All I'm saying.
And are they both in the last
Stu
5
gets in
years?
trouble a lot. Yeah. Also, just so you know, these back-to-back years, we just did it.
Yeah. Oh, so it was back-to-back years. Okay.
Well, the thing is, they weren't going to give you Wemby.
Yeah, there was no way in hell we were getting Wemby. You couldn't even give a star. We couldn't get Dollar General Wemby.
No.
I got the consolation prize. I got the meh Thompson twin last year.
Hey, he was at the draft lottery today.
Yeah, he's the reason we got 5th.
He was your representative.
And Wallace was the one who got us Cade. Only send Ben, because he will kill anyone who shows up on that stage that doesn't give us the number 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, he throws. I don't know. I think it definitely feels like there's a grudge against the Pistons. I'll give you that, because I think everybody knew that like Wemby wasn't going to go there. It was like the league's going to protect him, put him with Pop. Like that's the best thing for the superstar to grow in. Underneath that kind of tutelage and that environment. Detroit is a bit of a dumpster fire as far as their front office, their coach. Like
that's an understatement.
Y'all got problems, and I don't know that you've made anything better since last year.
Yeah. No,
do you think that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's the problem that we're at right now is we're moving into an era where we got rid of our last president of basketball operations and we're picking up a new one. And the whole problem is, one, now mind you, this may just be that I don't know who's out there. No one seems good enough to kind of deserve the job that's out there.
Okay.
And they also get lumped with 2 really big decisions of, we've already been told that they get the decision on Weaver and they get the decision on if Monty stays. So right off the bat, they have like the 2 franchise-defining things at the moment. Like aside from like, hey, please make sure Cade stays.
Yeah.
Aside that decision, but like, look, that's gonna break my heart if that happens. But
now, I want to. I mean, though, you're right. Those are 2 like franchise-changing decisions. So a lot of power going into the hands, or new hands, I guess technically. One of the things that I've been reading and hearing about is like the Pistons should not draft around fitting around any of their young players, and they should be willing to listen to move them. Like I thought Duren was like untouchable. I thought Cade was untouchable. And people are saying like, no, they should like don't move. Don't feel like just because you have Duren, like if a Klingon or a Sar fell to 5, like you wouldn't take him. It feels like are you considering like anyone actually core to this team, or do you feel like all these pieces are still kind of like up for grabs?
I think the only person I still consider core is Cade.
Okay.
Like, as much as I would hate to move Duren, realistically, we hurt Duren's development more than we're benefiting it. Because Duren has, like, all the defensive potential in the world, and he is such a flip-flop defender of, like, either he's really good one game, and then it's just like, hey, do you know that you do stuff on the other side of the court, too? There's no in-between. He's either lockdown or terrible.
I was going to say, he had a string of games where it was like he had 8 points or he had like 16 points, and it was back and forth, and it was just like, dude, are you part of the offense or not? Like, you got to figure this whole thing out. And I don't know if it was like, obviously point guard play throughout the season was kind of a rotation and a question mark. So again, it's the like at 5, are you hoping somebody falls to you, or are you just kind of like, we're definitely all in on Dalton Connect because we want to space the floor and get some points.
He said the name. He said Voldemort.
Please don't say Dalton Connect. Don't wish it into existence, please.
I listened to some Pistons fans talk about him as a top 3 pick, and I was like, what is wrong with your city?
Please,
what did you do to them?
Please,
Dalton Connect is number 3.
I can't have it that 3 years in a row we draft people I don't want. We can't do it. And I guarantee it'll be whoever I want will go the pick after or just before us.
Like
it
Cam
happens
Whitmore.
every year.
Stuff.
Cam Whitmore's we just didn't trade back in for him. Like, I wanted Keegan Murray, went right before Ivy. I also wanted Shaden Sharp over Ivy, right behind us. I didn't want a Sar. Everyone else I wanted went around him. And then Cam Whitmore's like, I guess I'll go 20s.
I guess I'll go 20s.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
It's definitely... It's one of those things where, like, it's the weird situation of as well, of it's still figuring out, like, is Cade that guy?
Yeah.
And that's the weird spot we're still in. where it's like we see flashes of it's like Cade is a really good basketball player, but then it's like for 4 or 5 games afterwards, it's like, what happened to the player 4 to 5 games ago? And like, granted, I think a lot of it is just like the talent that's around him. Like realistically, I don't like his fit next to Ivy. I don't. No one can convince me those two can play together.
Yeah.
If you're not convincing me.
I'm smiling because yeah, I agreed with this. I knew it before, like as soon as they drafted Ivy, I was like, oh, this is a terrible pick. This is just a terrible pick.
It's just the problem of like when people were like, "Oh, Ivy's like Westbrook," I'm like, okay, so he needs the ball in his hands. So you then hurt the other guy who also needs the ball in his hands. Where like it's just every single pick has just been like to the detriment of Cade. Of where like outside of Duren, like everyone we've drafted post Cade hasn't been like a benefit to him. Where like I definitely think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is that why the league picked the Wizards over the Pistons? Like, is Kuzma and Poole that much better than the questions you're saying with Cade?
No.
Hi, everybody. Just want to take a quick moment out of today's podcast to tell you about our sponsor for today, BETUS, a sports book that has it all, whether it's basketball, hockey, football, soccer, whatever you like to bet on, BETUS has you covered. And they are offering our viewers and listeners today a 125% sign-up bonus just for using our link down below in the description. So go ahead, use that link down below and get your 125% sign-up bonus, BETUS. And now, let's get back to the podcast. Like, that's the thing where it's like the Wizards don't have star power either.
I think it's just the whole thing of like the Wizards are one of those teams that like they're bad, but it's like they're bad, but it doesn't matter that they're bad because the league doesn't look bad for the Wizards sucking.
Is the DC market bigger than Detroit? Like I was trying to even think about that. I'm like, is the DC market even, like, are they the same tier? It's not like LA, Chicago, New York.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things of where like Detroit massively fluctuates on how valuable a market it is, entirely depending on how good their sports team is.
Yep. Y'all been bouncing back
lately.
We're the most
flip-flop fans.
But I think the thing is like
all of a sudden is Lions fans.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, it turns out when your team wins games, they have more fans because winning is fun. Wow.
Shocker.
Big surprise there. But I think the Wizards, to their credit, have turned over a new leaf as far as the direction of the franchise. You know, they got rid of Wall, they got rid of Beal. They went ahead and kind of cleared house on that like roster. And we kind of saw like a little bit of fun at the end of the last season with, you know, point guard Denny putting up insane numbers. We saw Bilal have a great season just overall. Corey Kispert had his moments. Like you see the young talent on that team start to groove a little bit. Obviously, Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, not taking basketball seriously, but that's just kind of what they're stuck with right now because they needed guys and they have contract money. So can you blame them? I don't know. Do they take themselves seriously yet? I think they're on their way. They have a direction at least, I feel.
And I mean, if you threw the Hornets or the Blazers in there instead of the Wizards, that would, the rigging then would be way too obvious. Like we got to throw somebody off the trail, right? Right? They threw us off the trail, guys. The Wizards are in the top 4.
I can see right through it. I understand you guys are still mad that Stu gets in trouble every 5 weeks.
The Ron Artest of the league.
Yeah, you guys are sorry. I mean, Stu is... Yeah.
I mean, it probably would help if Stu stopped just punching people.
Yeah, I'd say he's got to watch out for that, man. Like, at this point, it's funny, but also a little concerning.
It's like, ooh, buddy, quit.
So, with that said, top of this draft class, 4 picks go by, you're on the board. Who are you hoping is there for the Pistons? Who is your dream scenario?
So, hopefully, at least one of the guards that I like is there. Because I definitely, and especially this is just like from what I've seen from our beat reporters and stuff, of like one, aside from our beat reporter 10 minutes after the pick being like, we need to trade the 5th pick, aside of that, like being done like that, like I definitely think if one of the guards is there, I'd like to go that direction. Just because like I keep seeing a lot of stuff about Ivy being on the move potentially. And like even potentially us packaging a couple people together to like one when I saw like trade back in the draft, it's like please don't. Oh, I don't want another one.
I mean, there's value there, and I know one team who's trying to trade up already. So obviously the Thunder are going to get Cody Williams. Like there's not even doubt in my mind. That one's locked. It's a wrap. It's over. It's just where he's going to get picked in this order. So the price might be, we'll see. but I do have 100% confidence in that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's a weird class because we talk about it value-wise. I think a lot of the guys are graded so differently by different organizations, and like I have a lot of top 10 grades on guys who are, anywhere in the 20s or 30s on other guys' boards, and I've got, mid first grades on guys people have it like 50. So it's what do you look for in a player, and like what kind of attributes are you trying to fill in on the roster? So I think trading back's not a terrible idea. It just, you got to find a buyer. That's the tough thing this year because nobody knows where anyone's going to go.
Well, this is the year to trade back because, mid. That's the word I took out of all you said, Dave. Mid.
It's the whole problem of where that's the problem with also trading back though. Like, it's how much value does that pick have?
Right.
Because if they're because realistically, it's like, let's say like TSJ. Let's just use TSJ as an example of someone may value TSJ at let's say 9. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just throwing random numbers out. I'm not using.
I'm just gonna bite my tongue.
If he went to 11 at the Bulls, I'd be happy.
I know, but I'm just using an example. All right, I'm not saying anything specific. But
no, you're cooking
some
here.
people may have TSJ at let's say 9. Yeah, hashtag on the court.
Yeah, you're cooking. Cook.
Well,
cook G.
Yeah, let's say a team may be at 9 of TSJ may be on the board, and a team at 15 may be he'll be there. 100% he'll be there by the time you get there. And some team at 12 may be dude, he's going now.
He's going now.
It's true. And it only takes one. You only have to convince one front office that they got to come up and get their guy or else. And that's a great point. Because I was talking to Ricky just before we started about the Spurs and their situation being at 4 and 8 is like a godsend for them because, sorry about it, I didn't even think about it, but it just happened.
It's the first one, 24 minutes in. I like it.
Pistons, I didn't have them taking one of the guards at the top because I was like, oh, there's no way with Ivy and Cade and Sasser on that roster that they're going to go ahead and get another. But if you think that Ivy's part of a trade package potentially, then I could absolutely, sure. But let's say hypothetically he's not. Pistons aren't going to go with a point guard. Hornets already have LaMelo. Why would they need to go get a point guard? No. The Blazers have a bunch of guards. They don't need a guard. So, there's a world out here where the Spurs at 4 could go with, whoever falls out of, Risache, Topic, Klingon, Sar.
Mm-hmm.
In a couple of my early ones, it ended up with Risache being there at 4. Great spacer at the 4 for them, next to Wemby. Love the Euro connection. And then at 8, you get whichever guard is left over between Reed, who probably is going to go early, from my early guesses. So you could get, either Topic, or you could get a Castle, or you could get Dillingham. There's 3 extra guards there who could be on the board for them. So I'm like, the Spurs are going to come out of this with 2 great players, and we're all going to just be rigged. Yeah, rigged, Ricky.
Yeah, and
rigged.
It's thanks a lot.
Because the teams in the middle all are going to go with different. And I know you don't always draft for fit, but it's a combination. It's a combination of fit and best player available. And I think that, there's a chance that they luck into that situation where they can snag whatever guard falls to 8. And that's going to...
Just don't let Sar fall to 4. I do not want to ever watch a team try to score against Sar and Wemby at the same time.
That would be so good.
Could the Pistons trade up for Sar?
I don't know if they want anything from us.
The Wizards?
Honestly, if you gave Ivy to the Wizards, that would low-key work for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a chance. It's just the whole thing. It's the weird thing of a lot of people have the Ivy getting moved thing because of how Monty treated him for most of the year.
Yeah, he was.
Over Monty was no, you stay on the bench. You get 8-10 minutes and you're gonna like it.
But like you said, if new guy comes in, fires Monty, that's not an issue anymore.
Potentially.
Yeah, and then we just run into the problem of who do we hire to replace Monty, who wants to step into a team that just had its franchise worst record of all time.
Frank Vogel, baby.
Do not go Vogel. Do not.
I'll take Borrego if he doesn't get hired.
That's the first name that came off my mind was just Frank Vogel.
I mean, you guys need a developmental coach, and again, you just had a terrible year.
Darvin Ham's
terrible year. So only up from here, man. That's I'm thinking. Who wouldn't want that job? You have a 2-year run at least where you can't do worse than you just did.
Oh,
Well,
As long as your front office doesn't go sign Toby to $45 million a year, you're in great shape.
you didn't break the record, so you can go for that.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for you guys, even if you stick at 5 or if you move up or down. Like, I think you got options. I think that I know you want to be like cursed, but like I feel like
nobody wants to be cursed, Dave.
No, some part of me thinks that he enjoys it.
Do you enjoy
it? Bit of a masochist.
Pistons being bad kills my enjoyment of basketball. I was tuned out by November. I saw 20-something game losing streak, and I'm like, all right, well, it was a fun month.
That was a tough one. That is a tough one.
That was cool being 2-1 at one point. That was cool.
We peaked
that was
on day 3.
The last time we... Yeah.
Hey, you beat us early. You beat us early on.
I love that.
Yeah.
You hang on to that.
We then went on to, tie the most games lost in a row record, but hey.
But also, you guys also do have a pick at the end of the draft. So you got that late second. And again, that late second, you could draft somebody who's good.
Luka Garza 2.0.
Okay, Luka Garza is a legit player now. We can not slander Luka Garza.
He ain't no Nas Reed, you know what I'm saying?
He's not Nas Reed yet.
No one's Nas Reed.
I don't think he'll ever be, but I'm just gonna say he's not him yet. But I'm just saying there's gonna be a lot of names back there. Mm-hmm. So I think you guys are in great shape. But yeah, you gotta pick a direction. Like as the Pistons front office, I'm with you. Like if they're keeping Monty, great. Move on from Jaden Ivey. Mm-hmm. Save him, save yourself kind of a moment there, and package that out. But like 5 isn't bad. It could be worse. You could be the Raptors. You could have traded a top or the 8th overall pick for Jakob Poeltl. Like, how do they think they feel about that after that ass season?
I mean that probably doesn't help, but at the same time, it's also kind of that we missed out on the 8th this year, but like we still have Scotty Barnes.
They do have Scotty Barnes.
Scotty did have
IQ.
Scotty's quote now ages like milk, where they asked him
what did he say?
He was there, and he goes, "Nah, man, I just can't wait to welcome in the newest member of the Raptors." Oh, and we didn't keep our pick. It's in San Antonio now, so you're not going to be welcoming anybody, bud.
Well, they do have. I'm
talking about next year.
Yeah, but that first round pick, like that's the one. I think
they have. I want to say they had like 3. They had a lot of picks, man.
Okay, they have 19.
Yeah, they got 19 and
31.
they got 31 from Detroit.
Detroit. Well, Soapy, thank you for joining us, talking some Pistons with us.
No problem.
I hope
you guys need me to talk Pistons, I can try to talk them.
I hope the draft goes better than the draft lottery for you, and I really mean that.
It won't.
Do you think
it won't?
You're happier after the draft this year than you were last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, like it's not that bar's already in hell. But like,
I'm just I like Thompson, but
it's like I already know where it's gonna go. We're gonna sign Kobe. Whoever we bring in as front, like to run president of basketball operations, is gonna keep Weaver. It's gonna keep Monty.
You can have Zach LaVine if you want.
I'll take him. You guys can take Ivy. I'll take LaVine. I don't care.
The contract filler for Zach LaVine.
Do we want Ivy? I don't even know if we want Ivy.
At
this point, I don't know what we want.
We want continuity, Ricky. That's what we've always wanted, and what we will always
take
want.
Wiseman. I'm always looking to get rid of him.
I mean, we could use a Drummond replacement.
You know what? He did kind of cook for like a week at the end of the year.
I
love the last 3 to the year games. Those are my favorite games of the year.
You know what my line to that is, Soapy? I'll take Filipowski.
Wow,
Ricky Filipowski.
Ricky admitting to taking Filipowski at any point in time.
I take Filipowski over Wiseman.
That says a lot. So
that is rough.
Oh, if we draft Kyle Filipowski, I'm gonna lose it, dude.
Thanks for jumping on, Soaps.
But it's on brand. Thank you, Soaps. I just thought about that, Dave. If the Bulls draft, and I know they said we're not going to talk Bulls, but this is just the one thing that popped in mind. Sure. If we take Filipowski, it will be the first time in 2 years that the NFL draft and the NBA draft, my team has let me down the worst way possible.
Oof.
It would be it would be on par with the JJ McCarthy pick. Both around 10, 11.
I guess.
Both. Actually, I think both were at 11 would be.
Well,
because we traded up.
Trade up.
Thought we traded up 11 to 11 to 10.
Or 11 to 10.
Yeah, we Ryan paced it, but that's besides the point. Dave, one thing I want to ask you, I want to put you on the hot seat.
Absolutely.
You are the new GM, new player of basketball operations. You're making the pick.
Yep.
For the Hawks.
Yep.
Who's the pick at number 1? Who are you writing on that card to the commissioner?
If I'm stuck with the roster as it stands, it's Sar. I'm taking Sar at 1. And I know he's not number 1 on my big board and all that shenanigans, but you got to get someone who can rim protect, who is mobile, who is able to do something where right now you have the corpse of Clint Capella just covering space. And again, you got to move on from him. Whether you move on from Trae Young, probably. What are you going to get for? I don't know yet. But I think that starting off with Sar at 1 feels like the safest bet. And best case scenario, you get your rim protector. He works on his shot a little bit, gets out to 12, 18 feet. Ooh, could get spicy. Might take some threes in a couple of years. Like, he's a guy who, again, like, he has so much upside because of his frame, because of how mobile he is. And he has such great instincts defensively. So I love the idea of him going down to Atlanta and being, that like secondary punch for them. So big defender. Exactly what they need in the East right now. Some rim protection.
And Atlanta is not a team that has a lot of free agents, as I'm looking at, unless Tankathon updated and took the free agents off already. The only contracts that they have to deal with right now is whether they're going to take Garrison Matthews option. It's the only player option, club option
Gary
that
Bird.
they have.
What do you feel about Gary Bird down there? Probably not.
It doesn't matter. Like Clint Capella's done after next year. That's the thing. He's a UFA after this year.
Yeah, he's going to get traded during this offseason.
And Jalen Johnson is an RFA.
Jalen Johnson is the core. DeJounte Murray, I like a lot.
If you trade Trae Young, is it for sure you go point guard?
No, because DeJounte Murray can play point guard. I'm good with that. It's not the most efficient thing in the world, but I think that DeJounte Murray runs a great offense at times. And I think that Jalen Johnson
especially when he's playing Boston.
Especially when he plays Boston. But I think that they need to find that, true pair on the wing. And Jalen's great. It's great. But you need a second guy. And unfortunately, AJ Griffin has not been him yet. And who is their other wing who is always hurt? And I'm blanking on his name. He was in trade rumors this past year. DeAndre Hunter.
Yep.
So, they could have guys.
Too slow.
That's all right. They could have guys there, but neither one of them's proven yet for them. I still love Kobe Buffkin as much as Atlanta Hawks fans want to tell me that I'm wrong about the 6 games and 8 minutes he played in the NBA being a disappointing rookie season. You can go, nope. Let's just say we all have expectations, and I still believe in him. I still love the kid. Still was huge on him last year. I think he'll get his chance this upcoming year to get legitimate minutes on that roster. So that's why I'm not really I feel like Topic could fit. I just don't feel like they're going to do it. I think that they will go Sar and they will be happy with rim protection and all the things he brings to the table.
The other reason I'm asking you where to go with the Hawks, because one, I have no idea. And sure. I'm not ashamed to say that, because
they could go 1, they could go 5. It's spicy.
So I'm looking at Tankathon. I know Tankathon isn't really the best at where people should go. They have Richard Sauce going at number 1. I don't know. I would take Sar above Richard Sauce if I'm the Hawks.
Richard
Sauce. If I'm going point guard, that's where it comes into. I don't know if I would take Reed Shepherd at 1. I don't know if I'd take
Rob Dillingham at 1.
I wouldn't take Rob Dillingham at 1. I don't know if I would take Castle at 1. It would probably come down to Topic. If I'm sitting there going at solely point guard, it would either be Nikola Topic or Reed Shepherd.
Yeah, Topic.
Maybe Castle if I'm really out there. But you said,
if you're reading between the lines, he has a great workout with you. He's that guy. Then you take your guy this year at 1, because everyone wants to comp this to the 2013 class, and that's how you end up with Anthony Bennett at 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that the number 1 pick will be a bust. I'm saying that it can be someone we don't expect to be in the number 1 slot right now. I mean, it could be a wild. Reed Shepherd is projected anywhere from 3 through, I saw 12. Mm-hmm. So like there's a range where you could just get a guy who has a great workout with a team, and I don't think there's any outside pressure. Like, you know how when we were all talking about like the Scoot versus Brandon Miller thing, and everyone was like, they have to take Scoot at 2. Mm-hmm. They have to take Scoot at 2. And when they didn't, everyone freaked out and was like, oh my God, it's a colossal. It's the Charlotte Hornets. Of course they're going to screw this up. And it's like, look how that worked out for them. They got Brandon Miller, who had a fantastic year, just absolutely killed down there in Charlotte. And no one's paying attention because it's Charlotte. And it's just like, fantastic. And not that I don't believe in Scoot, but he definitely struggled. He showed his age. He showed young point guards in the NBA. Still very tough to make that transition. Got to work on his shot. But I still think there's a lot to his game. But still, it's that like there's that public pressure from a GM to nail that pick. This year doesn't exist. You just do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, man.
The reason I asked you, I now have to ask you a follow-up question because I was doing a little bit of research.
Yeah.
AJ Griffin last year. Put your 2023 hat on, Dave.
Yep.
Did you like him, hate him, or indifferent on AJ Griffin? I can't remember.
Going into the draft, I was not a fan because I thought his defensive effort was crap. I thought that he was a great shooter, but his shot was slow. And basically, I just thought that he wouldn't be able to stay on the court because of his defense and his lack of effort at times. He was coming off of an injury that everybody was kind of chalking up to like, well, when he's fully back to full, like when his athleticism comes back to him, he'll be more active out there and all that stuff. And I was like, I don't know, maybe will, maybe won't. He had a heater streak, and he shot really well, but then he didn't. And then obviously this past year, off the court happened, and he just didn't play. So I don't know if that's a coach thing. I don't know if it's a him thing, or they just agreed that the best thing for them is to keep him out. Hope he figures it out, but I'm not going to put any faith in not drafting someone who takes up the same space as him right now. No, you haven't earned that.
Perfect. And here's why. Here's why I'm saying perfect. Dave, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and these 2 questions are going to be one of these 2 players is who the Hawks will pick.
Okay.
Number 1, if you're looking at the number 1 pick, take the team aside, just number 1 pick. Who is your favorite player that could realistically go 1? Like, who's your favorite player? Okay. They're either taking Nikola Topic, or who's the one player that could go 1 that you absolutely hate?
What do I hate?
We need this is for science, Dave.
I gotta think who I hate.
I'm talking how. Go ahead.
I mean, Jacoby Walter, Isaiah Collier, either one of those 2. I'm not a fan of. I do not think they.
Unless there's one above. Oh, no, I know. Rob Dillingham.
I don't dislike Dillingham. I just don't think he's kind of. I think he's like Garland Jr. He is best suited as a 6-man, it seems, right now. He has the upside to become like Garland, Maxey Light. Not as good as Maxey, obviously, but like in the same vein, maybe an IQ. Maybe somewhere around IQ.
Pick one between Walter and Collier.
I mean, I would say who I dislike more.
Yes.
It's Walter.
Okay. So we got 3 picks. It's either going to be one of these 3. Because I'm looking at this team, and Dave, when I look at their draft history in the last few years, when I look at the first round, AJ Griffin, you said you didn't hate him, but like you didn't like him heading into it. That's the Rob Dillingham. They could take a Rob Dillingham. Okay. Then the year before that, in 2021, they took Jalen Johnson. You were not a fan of Jalen Johnson.
I wasn't not a fan of Jalen Johnson. I was not a fan of the fact that everyone said he's a lead ball handler in the pick and roll, and he's not a lead ball handler in the pick and roll. And I was right, and no one wanted. Y'all wanted to be like, "Oh, Dave hated him. He didn't think he'd be good." No, I said in college he wasn't ready to do the thing that he kept saying. This is how I play, and then guess what? He couldn't do it. So they took him out of the situation. Like, oh my God, I hate that you baited me into that. Like,
or the Nikola Topic is like Kobe Buffkin last year. You liked Kobe.
I do.
And Buffkin and Topic fit so well in this parallelism because Kobe Buffkin, you liked the pick. The majority hated the pick. From what I see and people I talk to, you love Nicole Topic. A lot of people, I don't know what you see in Nicole Topic.
That's actually, you're spot on with that one. That one I'll give you. I will absolutely give you that.
That's why I'm like, okay, it's either like you usually got your barometer with the Hawks. They either take someone you really like or they take someone you really are very, I'll say, very critical of. Yeah. And Jacoby Walter, you have been very critical of.
Well, when I think you can beat him to the hoop, it's a problem. He does not play on defense. Doesn't try. But whatever.
Let's change gears a little bit. Get you in a happy mood.
Sure.
I'll have you pick a number. We're going to talk about both these teams regardless. Pick a number, 1 or 2.
2.
Number 2. Who would be the two most ideal picks for the Spurs at 4 and 8?
If the Spurs could walk away from this with Risa Shea at 4 and Rob Dillingham at 8, I think that's realistic. Yeah, it's not works. Like best case scenario is obviously different because you end up with like 1-2, which would be like Topic and Sarr.
No, I'm saying if they keep 4 and 5, what is like their when you see the articles where it's like best draft for each team
works itself out.
Yeah, like how I think basically how it worked out. What would be their best fit if this guy went at 4 to them and this guy went at 8 to them?
Yeah, I would say that those two guys going to them because Risa Shea gives them a 3-and-D guy to play next to Wemby, gives them the floor spacing, some consistency out on the wing. Love the defense from him. I think that's a fantastic spot, and he could fall to them. It's a nice thing. The wing, as valuable as it is, I think the 3 teams above them, there's a chance that none of them want him. And then at 8, like I talked about, that 5, 6, 7 spot, there's a chance that none of those teams need a point guard, which means Topic or Dillingham will be there in my mind. The only reason I say that is because I believe Reed Shepherd goes 3 to the Rockets because I think they really like him. Could be wrong there. We could see a flip where all 3 of those guys are available. But I mean, shoot, even Stephon Castle, like I think that they're going to walk out of this with one of the guards and probably Risa Shea falling to 4 is my guess. I think Topic, Sarr, and Klingon right now are my early 3 as they fit. I can't wait to see though, because if they get a wing and a point guard out of this draft class though, and that's huge for them.
For me, I'm going to throw this out here, and I'm not going to say this is going to happen because I don't believe this should happen. But with this draft class, we have always said it's so fluid.
Yep.
The guy could go at 1 or could go at 5.
Correct. Yep.
Is there a chance that the Wizards could sit there at 2? Let's say the Hawks go Topic or go anybody, not Sarr, but Topic here. Okay. Let's say Topic. Could the Wizards sit there at 2 and go, no, we like Klingon more than Sarr? Go with Klingon, changes the entire draft. Let's say the Rockets panic, I'll say air quotes, panic, don't go Sarr, and is there a possibility Sarr falls to 4 right into the Spurs' lap? Or would the Rockets jump all over Sarr then?
I think there's an interesting situation there. I think that's a good puzzle for the Rockets because on the one hand, I love Alperen Şengün. I also like Jabari though. So Jabari Smith has been really good at times. Like he's able to step up and become that dude for them. He has stretches of the season where he's just absolutely fantastic, but he also has incredibly cold. Again, he's young, super young kid. But you also have Tari Eason, who missed a chunk of the year last year. I love him on the wing. So you got some big bodies. They do need a backup center, but also people out there are like, can we really build around Alperen Şengün? He's terrible at defense. Can't do this. We can't build around him. We need the ball out of his hands in order for oh my God, I'm going to get crucified for this. Jalen Green to have those amazing games. Remember that streak during the year where they played against dumpster teams tanking intentionally and everyone wanted to suck that man's balls? And I was just like, I can't. Guys, read between the lines. See what's going to happen when they play against teams who are trying to make the playoffs and trying to get seeding correctly, because he went from putting up 25 or it was 24 a night on amazing shooting to instantly putting up 12 on just the worst. His shooting percentage just fell off a cliff. And it's what did you think was going to happen? I love JG4. He is awesome. Amazing highlight reel. He's been screwed over by his teammates, by his front office, by his coach. It's not been an easy path for him. So like that whole situation there with like everyone tried to shift it over to him and like crown him as the guy. I'm like, oh, let's wait. Let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him cook.
I don't buy that. But they could say, hey, let's get Sar. We can run incredible lineups. That way they have Sar, who can play the 4 or the 5, which kills their spacing. Don't get me wrong. Their space would be atrocious at that point because Şengün's working on a 3-point shot. Sar's even further behind working on a 3-point shot. So that's tough. That's tough to deal with. It's a lot of paint clogged. So while they could do it, I don't think they will. But if they had a buyer, then I think it gets spicy because I think a team like OKC, if there was the number 3 pick available and Sar was on the board, I think OKC would be interested because I think Sar next to Chet would be special.
And they would have to give the Rockets their pick back?
Probably. It's their pick back plus something, but yeah. I mean, is that to say they're the only buyers? No, but I think that as far as a team who
would be
the number
the
one
other
in the
buyers? If Sar fell to 3,
I think,
or who should be buyers?
Yeah, I think the Grizzlies would be interested. They need a big. They moved off both their bigs at the end of last year. I think the Raptors wish. I don't know if they would, just because it would line up with their timeline. Like Jakob Poeltl's not young. He's not the future. Koloko had that whole blood clot issue. So that was a scary situation. I think the Kings honestly should look at it. I know I love Domas, but I think that pairing would be interesting as well. And the last one would be the Pels. Like realistically, I think that team could use help. And clearly their current core is not as constructed going to get them to a championship. They got pieces that don't fit, you know? They hit that wall. So we were talking about Brandon Ingram being a trade piece. Like, nah. JV's already been like talked about as not being re-signed. So Valanciunas is out. You've got CJ, you've got BI as potential trade pieces, but BI is the likely one everyone's kind of pointing to because they don't want to pay him out again. And CJ kind of evolved his game this year and took a big step. So I would see BI as like a tradable piece. If they could land like Sar next to Zion would be incredible for them. And that would truly be special.
So there's one team you didn't mention that I don't think would happen. I don't think the GM for this team would look to do this.
How are we going to make this work?
But there's one team that you left out that I'd be interested if Sar went to 3. The Bulls. Him next to Vucevic. He's the defensive piece down low. Vuce playing outside for the pick and roll. Vuce not as good as a defender inside as he would be. And there's questions about Paul. He's an RFA this offseason too. So that would even play that. It's like if we could move up and get Sar, I would take him over Patrick Williams right now.
Would you trade an 11 and Alex Caruso?
Or it would be that or future assets. Would you want that, though? That's the thing. If we're going all in on the plan, why not go all in on the plan, Dave?
I think Zach, and not to get too deep into the Bulls talk, but like Zach is gone.
Yeah, he is. So, what if it's a Zach thing? What if we trade Zach and our pick for 3? Would the Rockets take that?
That creates a problem for them that they would be happy with.
Or could it be a thing where then they move on from they keep Zach until he's tradable and then they are like, we can move him and get stuff for him.
They could flip maybe. I don't know. If he's healthy, I guess. Sure. It's bold.
I just look at it because the 4 for the Bulls is like, I don't think people are as solidified on Paul as we should be or as we hope to be. He's always injured.
He's been the same. Well, he played 82 games last year. Not this past year, but the year before.
Also, still can't shoot a consistent 3 ball.
Right? I feel like he did.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, he's consistently good at shooting. What are you talking about? Like, it's just ultra low volume.
He's just not and I don't know if it's coaching. He's just not the 3 and D player that we. Yeah, it's just not.
He is. He is 3 and D.
Yeah, but not to what we hoped, though.
I think people want him to be the guy because
and
he came in the league and we're all like, oh, well, he's Paw because he's similar to the Claw and Kawhi.
And he's
like,
not that guy.
All these expectations. He's not that kind of guy. We see those moments. We see the summer workouts that I'm going to get my summer league hype on for
he
the
played,
year in a row.
So he played 71 his rookie year, then 17, then 82, then 43. Yep. So he's going to play all 82 next year, then get injured again.
And I'll be happy to dive into that further in the Bulls one. But I just think that, like, yes, the Bulls could make a big splashy move here, but that just does not scream AKME to me. That is not tried and true. Like, oh no, there goes my life.
You can picture like David. Okay.
I just want to give up right there. You saw it in my eyes. You're like, just let it be.
I will segue back then too before we. This kind of what I was going to ask before the trade thing, but this kind of interrupts it a bit. The Rockets.
Yeah.
Is there a player there that they like, even if Sarr's available, is there a player there that they'd be like, no, we got to take this guy rather than trading? Would they be willing to trade out because then they'd be giving up drafting a guy that they want at 3?
You know, it's weird. I think, and I didn't mention him, but like, I think they, like I said, I really think they love Reed Shepherd, and I think they could get Reed Shepherd later.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Tankathon's got Reed at 9 to the Grizzlies.
Yeah. So let's say you dreamed it, Alex Sarr next to Wemby. What if you go 8 for 3 and you throw in whatever you want to throw in? I don't know what it is. I'm not pulling up, their assets right now for the Spurs, but they've got a wealth of assets because I don't think they've traded a bunch of pieces out. So, and you can have a Keldon Johnson if you want him.
And then who do you take at 4 if you're the Spurs? You take Sarr at 3, and then like let's say the top 3 is like Topic, Klingon, Sarr to the Spurs at 3. Who you take?
And you go Ricochet.
Okay.
So you're 3. So you go Devin Vassell at the 2, Ricochet at the 3, Sarr at the 4, Wemby at the 5. You still need a point guard, but that's still been the same problem as last year.
Dude, if that trade actually happens on draft night, you cannot tell me it's not rigged.
That'd be amazing.
You cannot tell me the league just happened to put it in that scenario where the 2 teams that got rigged up could then rig it to help each other.
I mean, it would be great. It would be truly special to watch that tandem just swat the ever-loving out of anyone coming towards the paint. And they could, because Wemby shoots 3s all day, so their spacing's still fine. Like, if you want the only situations where you could play Sarr at the 4 are with Wemby, with Brook Lopez, maybe if he can somehow grit out another season, with Chet. I don't know that many more stretch 5s. Joe, but there's no chance. They don't got the ammo. So yeah, I think that's pretty much. I think that would be the dream situation for them. I think, yeah.
Besides the Pistons, this is one thing I've been thinking about. Besides the Pistons, obviously Pistons would be the biggest loser in this question because they moved from 1 to 5.
To 5 again.
But outside of that, if we look from 6 to 10, the Hornets moved back 3 to 6. The Blazers moved back 4 to 7. The Spurs moved back 6 to, the Raptors moved back, giving it to the Spurs at 8. That's out of the question because they're not going to be the answer to this question. Maybe the Raptors are the answer. Who knows? Then at 9, the Grizzlies moved back from 7 to 9. Who's the biggest loser out of those 3 from moving back? Is it automatically one of the 2 that moved back 3 because it's more picks? Is it the Raptors because they lost their pick completely in the top 10?
The Raptors lost their pick this year, but also it clears up any protections going forward for them. So like, is it a loss? Is it a win? I'm not sure on that one yet because I feel like everyone keeps talking up next year's class. So like, hey, if they get, pick number 7 next year, it stays with them kind of thing.
Do we put that in the rig category? They actually wanted to help the Raptors by having them keep their pick next year. So they're doing them a favor by doing them a disservice. Dude, this rabbit hole goes deep. This rabbit hole goes deep, dude.
I would say, honestly, the Grizzlies kind of get screwed because this was going to be their worst year because how many other times are you going to have your best players all go down? Like, Ja's just done for the season. Bane missed time. Jaren Jackson Jr. tried to hold on for dear hope down there. They moved on from Steven Adams after he was done for the season. Like, just everybody on that roster was in the ER. They were all on the injured reserve. So this was like, hey, this is going to be our last best pick. And then they fall all the way down to 9. And I just hope they don't Zaire Williams it. That's all, you know?
So according to the future picks for this year, that's the Hawks. Never mind. Because I'm looking, I'm like, it's a swap. Raptors. I was misreading.
There's top 6 protected.
Yeah, I was reading the
top 6 protected for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I was reading the Hawks one and was confused. I'm like, wait, the Hawks and the Spurs also have a swap that starts next year. That's what I was confused.
Yes,
on.
that's the DeJounte Murray deal.
Yeah, they have like a next year it goes to San Antonio, and then 2026 they have a swap. So my brain just stopped. It was like,
That's why there was that like weird like thought of like, oh, are they going to trade Trae Young to get their picks back and something? I was like, I don't know, why would they do that?
Because I'm going to go with a different answer, and I think that both these teams are you can't pick one, is what I'm going to say. It's the Blazers or the Hornets, but not because they went down 3 picks. That the league chose the Wizards over them, because when we were talking Soapy about like, oh, why did they pick the Wizards over the Pistons? I'm sitting here and I still can't put my finger on what the league likes so much about the Wizards.
I love that we're just running with the whole rig thing.
No. I am running with it. I don't care if people get mad because it is. I would look at it and go, the Blazers more so than the Hornets, but the Hornets fall into this too.
Yep.
The Blazers have so much young talent that they got last year. Wouldn't you want to keep that building? Wouldn't you want to give them the top 2 picks so that they get better? They get in? Or it's like, oh, well, Portland's not, like Portland and Charlotte aren't big markets at all, so we're just going to say screw them.
They had a rough year last year. Chauncey did not do himself any favors as a coach. Everybody got hurt. Everyone talked about how the Blazers should have moved Robert Williams and Malcolm Brogdon before the season so they wouldn't get hurt. And hey, guess what? They both got hurt right away.
Yeah.
Shocker. Way to sit on value and waste it. There's a team that could move up. Hey, now because Robert Williams should play again this season, whatever's left of him. Malcolm Brogdon, same thing, should be healthy. So like you got pieces. Jeremy Grant still on that roster for reasons no one knows. DeAndre Ayton, unfortunately, you're probably stuck with. But
yeah,
I think that basically you like your guys moving forward between Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, Toumani Camara is a great defender. Like they got interesting pieces in like Chris Murray, Ryan Rupert. Like they're just a collection of dudes right now, which is fun. But I do think that like they kind of
no vision. Is what you're saying? No vision.
Yeah, they pooped the bed with assets, and they had a terrible year because of injuries. And I don't know that they're going to get that much better with a number 7 pick. But they did take a super long shot on Shaedon Sharpe, and then they took I want to say a long shot, but like Scoot kind of fell to them. It felt like so, but they took Ryan Rupert later. So long shot. So who's the long shot guy they're going to go with at 7? Is it Cody Williams? Maybe.
I would be so upset as a GM. Like if I was the Blazers, the Hornets, like, oh great, we were at 3 and now I fell to 6. And now if I want to get back up, I have to give up assets to get where I already was.
Yep. But they're asset rich.
Last thing I want to ask you, and this is a question you can ask every year.
Yeah.
Is it dumb? You could throw the NBA in this. You could throw the MLB in this. You could throw the NHL in this.
Yep.
Is it dumb to have a lottery? Or should everything just be like the NFL where it's like, nope, that's where it was. This is where you're at. This is your pick.
The lottery is to disincentivize tanking. Has it done that? To a degree. I don't know that it's the fairest solution. But it's the best one we got right now. I still think in 10 to 15 years, we try to mimic Europe and get to the elevation. I think that's the best answer.
You said the word, Dave!
I think we enter a phase where there is no draft and it's just straight cash for players, and like that is the future of the NBA when we get there eventually. I don't know how long that's going to take. I'm guessing 20 years. I think the draft is going to go away for the NBA because I think that's everything in Europe as far as their pro sports.
Does it? I was going to say, does it go full Europe? And this would be a detriment to. This is a completely different thing, but I can say this. Will it be? And this would hurt college and AAU. Do we get into a fact where it's like, okay, the G League, we're going to build up into like what the championship is in soccer. It's a lower league where you make less money, but that's where you sit. If you're not, if you're going to tank, that's where you get sent to where every team then has like a U16, a U17, just like, for example, Arsenal. Oh, we've got this kid. Oh, he's coming from the U16, moves up and just comes through the pipeline. That would obviously hurt college and AAU.
I think AAU teams will make like if that were to happen, AAU would make deals with NBA, so they'd be like their franchises, like whatever. Like I know a bunch of former NBA players have those
AAU, like Steph Curry as a team.
Yeah, so you would just take that and be like, oh, that's the Warriors U16 team or whatever, and like they'll pair up. You'll end up with that like league. I don't know that we're gonna get to full like soccer camp level where they're just insane from like age 10, 12, 14, like they're all the way up.
I was more saying where they at least like the Bulls will have a U17 team, a U16 team. That is like, that's the club team. If you play for that team, you're in the Bulls system.
In 20 years, if we had that, that'd be dope. I think that's how you keep going because I think that there's more and more talent getting to the league and I don't think there's room for it. And I think that Europe's getting better. Great. The NBL is getting better. Great. But if there's a void in America where we could just, have them play in our leagues and then have them be able to come up and down. We have different storytelling that way. Like media wins, we win, money wins because it's just open market. That like I don't see the downside in this other than the old fat owners who have billions of dollars going, well, I don't want my team to go down. Well, then you have to spend money.
Is
it odd that I'm in Chicago saying that and I'm unhappy with my owner?
So
maybe.
You know what the first thing I thought of was? So I don't know. I'm not going to insult you and think that you don't know, but do you know the history of like Dortmund in the Bundesliga?
I don't.
So they're a team. They are a team. They had Erling Haaland, best player in soccer. So developed him when it was time to like, okay, come up with a new contract. No, we're going to sell you to Man City for a butt ton of money. Jude Bellingham. Build them up. It's time to give you a new contract. No, you're really good. We're going to sell you for a butt ton of money to Real Madrid. Who becomes that team in the NBA where they just develop the talent when it's time to give them the new contract? No, rather, we're going to sell you to this other team so I can make a butt ton of money off of it. And we just stay right in the middle where we're still in the NBA, but I'm developing talent and selling it off and making money.
Well, you had me up until you said developing talent because I thought,
well, you have to develop them into the player that people would want to pay money to then get the rights for.
Move on, and then they become good elsewhere.
We don't even care how they are after. We made our money by selling them, like selling the negotiation for X team to talk to them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the Bulls.
So we'll be the Dortmund of the NBA.
That'd be great. So I feel like we'd
be okay. We'd be okay.
We are okay.
I would love if we went to relegation. That's besides the point, though. That's an entire separate video.
I think we're 20 years away, but I would love it.
But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below about the entire lottery. If we didn't talk about your team, let us know what we should know about your team with the lottery. We kind of focused on the top because that's where the big changes always happen, the top. But let us know what you think about anything we talked about today. Piston fans want to hear from you because obviously we had Soapy on. Dave and I will be back normal schedule. You can go on mostvaluablepodcasts.com to check that out. The schedule's up there. We'll be back to our normal schedule after this. Remember, the Discord is down below, Patreon, BetUS. Check out all of our stuff in the description, like socials. We're on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Hit the like button, hit the sub button. But as always, have a good day, everybody. As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.